Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is a paid request for RB. Thank you so much, man, for your generosity, your patience. Thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. And for those who are interested in requesting any type of review, tier list, reaction, commentary, stream, video game playthrough, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. I do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. And this is for TNA Slammiversary 9 from June 2011. Now, I think I did review a TNA pay-per-view a while ago, and I remember liking it. But as I said there, I did not watch TNA. I'm not an aficionado on TNA in the slightest, but I've learned a few things here and there. For example, during this time period in 2011, Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff were running the company, although it seemed like Hulk Hogan in real life never advertised TNA, so he didn't really help it out much. So I don't really think those two being in TNA really did anything for the company. At least that's what it seemed like. Wasn't there a story where because Abyss is on this pay-per-view. Wasn't there a story where Abyss, like Hulk Hogan had his Hall of Fame ring or something and gave it to Abyss saying, "You'll be a Hulkamaniac and this will give you superpowers," or something like that? I don't know. I don't know why I vaguely remember that. I think just because I remember people back in the day talking about it. And went, what? This is so fucking stupid. So fucking stupid. Now, I do remember the last TNA one I reviewed. I liked a lot more than this. I thought this pay-per-view sucked. I thought this was... I wish it had tits or ass. Just would have been a better pay-per-view. The last match was really good. The third to last match... No. The third to last match would have been great, but had a stupid fucking ending that ruined it. And a lot of the matches, it's just like, what? So, let me explain. These were the heavy-duty matches. Well, I'll list all the matches and go through them specifically. There's Beer Money versus the British Invasion for Tag Team Championships. There's Matt Morgan versus Scott Steiner. Sadly, no math promos in this. There's Abyss versus... It was a three-way, but it's pretty much a two against one for most of it. Abyss versus Brian Kendrick and Kazarian. There's Crimson versus Samoa Joe. There's Angelina Love versus Mickie James. Bully Ray versus AJ Styles. Mr. Kennedy versus Sting. And Kurt Angle versus Jeff Jarrett. The Kurt Angle versus Jeff Jarrett was easily, to me, the best match of the night. Taz and Mike Tenay are in commentary. TNA definitely has a smaller feel compared to WWF, which I don't mind that, because it makes it seem like I don't mind that, less glitzy and glamorous. Beer Money and Bridge Invasion. I guess one of the guys, Bobby Roode, who was with the Tag Team Beer Money, he couldn't be in it because he was hurt, so someone else took his place. And this was an okay tag team match, but I think for me, Since I did not know either team, I wasn't really that invested in one winning over the other. There's some chokeholds. I did like Beer Money doing this tag team move where one's holding the guy, and then the other guy kind of, you think he's going to ram into him, but then he stops just to his D's and does like an eye poke on the guy while his tag team member's holding. I liked that. One's holding him, the other goes, drops. Doop. I like that. Reminds me of something like Roddy Piper would do. The one guy, Madness, he gives a really good elbow drop. Thought that looked really solid. His partner, James Storm, does a nice baseball slide between someone's legs to avoid being hit. Thought it was an interesting move where Beer Money does his tag team move where they use the other guy to suplex. So I don't use my tag team partner and suplex so it lands on the guy. Or I'm trying to think, maybe maybe he took the one guy and suplexed him onto his own teammate. Maybe that's what happened. See, I can't remember. I know I said it was a good moment, and yet I can't even fucking remember it exactly now. This is one move, kind of like a knee backbreaker, where you jump on someone's back, go backwards, and the knee is kind of, you jump on a guy backwards and you pull him down so the back lands on the guy's knees while he's falling backwards. But it wasn't pulled off. It failed pretty badly. Also, the British Invasion, they tried to do their finishing move, but it was screwed up and botched. The ending was decent. There's a super kick, and then the one guy does like a flip off the turnbuckle into, like, flipping over and doing like a diamond cutter on the one of the British Invasion guys. Their Beer Money wins. It at points got to be the damn how many moves they don't do to each other, and how many times they don't kick out. But there's some botches and stuff, and again, I didn't know either team, so I didn't really have a skin in the game. But it was an okay match. It definitely got the crowd fired up. There's some pretty decent moves. Not amazing or anything, but it's a decent warm-up opening match, at least for me. Also, interesting to hear Taz use the phrase intestinal fortitude. He has some intestinal fortitude. Man, I haven't heard that in a long ass time, that kind of phrasing. So then you have Matt Morgan versus Scott Steiner. This match fucking blew dogs for quarters. This match fucking sucked. First off, I'm like, who the fuck is Matt Morgan? I don't know who the fuck Matt Morgan is. He's got my name Matt. I know a guy named Morgan, but I don't know who the fuck Matt Morgan is. I'm like, he's a tall sumbitch. Because he's taller than Scott Steiner. I think he's, 7 foot? I don't know what the fuck he did afterward. I looked it up. It didn't seem like a whole lot. But I'm like, who the fuck is Matt Morgan and why should I care? Scott Steiner, I love his promos during this time because I could see the clips on YouTube. I mentioned the bath promo. Samoa Joe, you fat! You're fat! I love when the guy interviewing Scott Steiner introduces him as, he's the big bad booty daddy. And man, you could hear and feel the crowd dying during this match. I swear there was a point where the crowd was saying, boring, boring. Because it looked like they were wrestling in fucking slow motion. Like they were underwater. I don't know how much of the blame I could put on Matt Morgan, though. To Scott Steiner, I'll put it this way. He was a much better wrestler back in the day when he was with the Steiner brothers. His promos, I don't remember much about it. Maybe they were good, maybe not, but I don't remember them. In this time period, his promos I thought were a lot more entertaining, a lot more fun personality, a lot more funny promos. But his wrestling in the later WCW, the bits he was in WWF, they weren't that great because he pumped himself up so much with so much muscles. It's like he could barely move. I mean, he could do a few suplexes, but when you have Kurt Angle much later on doing, much better looking suplexes, you even have Samoa Joe later on, which I wish he did more suplexes, but he has a nice suplex and clothesline, and the stuff I've seen of Samoa Joe, I do like him. But Scott Steiner just moves so fucking slow, and he tells a bit clunky. This match kind of killed the energy. Slow as fucking molasses. Matt Morgan blocks the suplex, or a suplex from Steiner. Does this, which you could clearly tell he does. Okay, imagine someone has you like this and ready to suplex you or fling you back, but Matt Morgan does this. But you can tell the hands are behind Scott's back. Isn't that supposed to be? The idea is supposed to hit him on the ears, but you tell he does. You can tell is because he's so fucking tall and so his arm is so fucking long. You can tell it was behind the guy's back, behind the guy's head. It's like someone doing this to you. Like someone do this. Or, now I'm not going to be hurt by that. I may be jumped, or I can have been loud, but not enough for to be so disoriented that then Matt Morgan comes in, hits a big leg into Scott Steiner's face, and Matt Morgan wins. Like it did a whole fuckload for Matt Morgan, because again, I don't know who the fuck Matt Morgan is. Do you know who the fuck Matt Morgan is? I don't. Let's look up who the fuck Matt Morgan is. What did he do, Mr. Matt Morgan? During this time period, I guess he was in SmackDown for a bit. He was doing a team up with Nathan Jones, but then Nathan Jones, I think, quit or something. So he was teamed up a few times with Brock Lesnar. He went back to Ohio Valley Wrestling. He was in SmackDown as a stuttering big man who was defensive over his speech disorder and defeated a jobber. Returned April 2005, was gone by July 2005. Did some Japanese European stuff, and then was in TNA as Jim Cornette's bodyguard. And hey, maybe there were some great matches here. I don't know. Team with Crimson, which I'll get to Crimson in a bit. And then departed 2013. He returned to TNA for a little bit. He had a one-night return on Impact. I still don't know who the fuck Matt Morgan is. So, there you go. Boring match. Slow as fuck. Steiner looked like an old-ass 49er out there. But, I love his promos. Again, much better wrestler back in the day with the Steiner brothers. Then you have Abyss. It's supposed to be for the X Division belt. Which I'm like, what the fuck is the X Division? But whatever. So Abyss, which is pretty much their version of Kane, Mankind, however you want to put it. That's the way I look at it. I mean, he's not bad or anything. Which I think he actually works for WWE now. I think he was the guy. They did some recent thing where they showed the behind the scenes of Monday, Raw. And was it Bruce Pritchard or someone yelling at Abyss? Or Abyss was supposed to do something he didn't, and then Bruce Pritchard kind of said something that was passive aggressive. I don't, can't remember the details. But anyway, fights Brian Kendrick, which I vaguely remember Brian Kendrick when he was with Paul London. And there's a really funny, crazy interview with them where they're high and they're just spouting off all this stuff from years and years ago. Although I think Brian Kendrick has been found to be a weirdo who's believes in some crazy things. I want to make sure about this before I fucking say it. Say it. He's a Holocaust denier. That's what it was. Yep, that's why I want to make sure he was a Brian Kendrick Holocaust denier. He doesn't think the Holocaust happened or happened like they said it did. And then you had Kazarian, and I'm like, who the fuck is Kazarian? I still don't, I'm like, who the fuck is Kazarian? And what the fuck is Paul Kendrick's music? His music sounds like a violin if it had Parkinson's. And that's the thing, it's a three-way, but it's just 2-on-1. And just Abyss, for the most part, well, for Chudovich, just beating the shit out of them. And then eventually the two of them fight him and do moves where they drop kick him and they punch him and they both try to pin him and he kicks out of both of them. And there's not a lot of overselling. There'll be like one move and then the guy is kind of pushed out and he sells for what feels like 5 fucking minutes. Was like one fucking move that was done on the person. So definitely some overselling. And it made Brian Kendrick and Kazarian look like chumps. Because like you put all this work onto the guy, drop kicking him, doing all this stuff. Some pretty athletic moves, to be fair. And it's weird, like Abyss does a move, but then he just decides to fall out of the ring, even though he did the move. Like, he was wobbly, but then he did a move, and he's like, I gotta just fall out of the ring. So that Brian Kendrick and Kazarian can fight each other. One does the move on the other, and Abyss takes advantage of it, pins, Abyss wins. So how can you take Brian Kendrick Kazarian seriously if you two were in a 2-on-1 fight and you still fucking lost? I was like, how the fuck can I take you seriously? So I'll give it that there's some athletic moves from Brian Kendrick, even some from Kazarian. But I'm kind of sitting there going, if I was a diehard Abyss fan, he's okay. But he didn't do anything that I thought was memorable. His presence, even his look. It's a little bit of Kane, a little bit of Mankind. I was kind of about Abyss. And then you got Crimson versus Samoa Joe. First, again, I'm like, who the fuck is Crimson? They slutty it out. Crimson does a net breaker to Joe. Joe drags Crimson's leg and tells the stories, worked in Crimson's leg. I guess the idea is Crimson at this time had a undefeated streak. I'm glad that helped him, because I that's somehow when I'm on Dead Pit. These friends of mine, I don't know. Do you know? I'm gonna ask them. Do you remember a guy named Crimson? And they're probably like, "Who the fuck are you talking about?" Well, they probably be like, "I don't fucking watch TNA." But in the last pay per view, and now let me give credit where credit's due. The pay per view, because it should be under TNA. Give credit where credit's due. TNA Bound for Glory 2007, 2 months ago from RB. And then I think 5 years ago, the first TNA Wrestling pay-per-view from Jack Thompson, which to be honest, I can't even remember that pay-per-view. I'd have to watch it again. But, yeah, like Crimson, who the fuck is Crimson? Anyway. But that one I liked. I enjoyed. Samoa Joe, I'm impressed by. I'm impressed by his demeanor. He didn't do any of this, but I love when someone's getting ready to do a dive, and then he just walks away and does this. Or a guy tries to jump on him, and he does this, walks away. He does like the smart thing, and the guy lands on his ass or on his face. I love that. Sadly, he doesn't do it in this. He does this interesting move where it's like an atomic drop, but it's onto. But atomic drop, for those who don't know, because I remember playing WWF Royal Rumble on Super Nintendo, and I would use this move a lot. As you lift the guy up, and the idea is you slam him down onto your knee as if it's hitting the guy's nuts. Then, actuality, probably hitting his butt or something. So he does that, but he puts his knee so it lands on the guy's knee. So just slams his knee down because he's working the leg. He's telling the story. I can understand that. It was an interesting move, too. It looked good. And Joe, I mean, his moves are intense. There's a nice suplex he gives, a clothesline that feels like it looks like it hurts. But why give this guy a fucking win? I get it. A winning streak can help from time to time. It can. People remember Goldberg. Now, it wasn't as many as they said. I mean, technically it wasn't like 7 or 8. But then he was with Disco Inferno and it was like a draw. Which, that's not really a win. So it's not a winning streak. But it was a winning streak. I remember, this is how dumb I was back in the day. I'm like, he had how many wins? I gotta find them all. How come I can't find all of them? Because they weren't that fucking many. Asuka, I know that because Goldberg was bitching about that. Because apparently nobody else in wrestling could have a winning streak other than him. And I don't even watch Asuka. It's because I don't watch wrestling anymore. But, hell, Tatanka had a fucking winning streak. Do you think that helped Tatanka? This guy had a 470-day undefeated winning streak, and I don't know who the fuck he is. Anthony Mayweather, a.k.a. Crimson. Who the fuck is he? I mean, no disrespect, but I don't know who the fuck he is. So he also defeated Bobby Roode, Bully Ray. I'm looking here. Defeated Samoa Joe and Matt Morgan in a three-way match. Try to see who he lost it to. The returning James Storm answered his open challenge and defeated him in a singles match. And then went to Ohio Valley Wrestling. Returned to Impact for a little bit, then the independent circuit. So that's what I'm talking about. His undefeated streak didn't do shit for him. You blame whatever the blame is, you would know more than me. But this guy had over a year-long winning streak, and I've never even heard of the guy until now. And he beat Samoa Joe with a weak as fuck, I call it Batista Bomb. Because whenever I think of that move, I think of when Batista did it. So it's like a weak look at Batista Bomb. I'm like, really? Samoa Joe's suplex and fucking clothesline look better, more hard hitting, and more painful than this weak ass Batista Bomb. And I'm like, really? This fucking guy wins? And beats Samoa Joe? And that's what I'm getting at. Like, it's not just the matches, it's just the winners too. Like Matt Morgan versus Scott Steiner. I would have been fine if Scott Steiner won just because. But hey, you want to prop someone up? Try to prop up Matt Morgan and give him a rub and try to give him more of a career. Unselfish. I can appreciate that. Perhaps the same with Crimson, because Samoa Joe had been there for a bit. But I don't know if it worked out for Crimson and Matt Morgan. You could tell me how wrong I am. Be my guest. It just Crimson, these guys just didn't do anything in the ring that made me go, I want to look up that guy's matches. Samoa Joe does. Jay Lethal. I would like to look up a lot more matches of Jay Lethal. Sadly, I don't know if he wasn't here or where he was. If he was with the company, why was he not on here? If he wasn't with the company, I'd be curious as where he was at that time. But yeah, I liked what Joe was doing. The worked in the Lade story, but again, Crimson just didn't impress me, and him winning with that weak ass move, I didn't care for. Angelina, I keep wanting to say Jolie. Angelina Love versus Mickie James. This is his I gotta go take a dump match. As in, if this was live, this is my time to go to the bathroom, leave a dump, salute the dump, wipe the ass, put it in there with the dump, flush the dump, wash your hands, and wash them more closely and carefully. Just keep your hands good hygiene. And who gives a fuck? Who gives a blind-eyed tittied fuck? It was sluggish. They couldn't wrestle. And the one thing I remember is this stupid, goofy looking trying to do like a flying DDT, and I don't know what the fuck they were doing. Just the head was moving here as they're flying DDT, and then it's moving here, and then it's moving down here, and it's like she almost broke the other girl's neck, and it's like they didn't know what the fuck they were doing. It was so botchy, especially that moment. Jesus Christ. You know, you watch shit like this, and some may say it's unfair, but this is why a lot of people say women's wrestling sucks. Now you just say, well, you haven't watched the right ones. Okay, fine, you're right. I haven't watched the right ones. I'm saying they put one women's match here, and it was this shitty. Where the fucking finishing move, it was a horrible. It was the worst move of the night, the worst botch of the night. Where there's smoke, there's fucking fire, even in fire crotches. So who gives a fuck about Angelina, Mickey James? I didn't give a fuck unless they got naked, and they didn't. So fuck this match. Bully Ray versus AJ Styles. This was on par of being the best match of the night. 9.95. Okay, if this was out of 10, well, how do I put it? 99.9% of the match was great. You felt the intensity, you felt the anger, you felt like they really wanted to beat each other down in this last man standing match. The idea is that the referee will count to 10. If you're not staying by time 10 count, the other person wins. And you just AJ Styles, man. The young, no beard AJ Styles, short hair AJ Styles is fucking good. I can I can understand. And I didn't watch a lot of his WWF stuff, and the stuff I've seen, I'm like, it seems like they haven't really done much with him. There was a guy, Nakamura, Waka guy, that it was like, seemed like it was more hype, but the payoff wasn't really there. At least that's what the word through the grapevine was. And you watch clips, it's like, yeah. But he's beating up Bully Ray, one half of the Dudley Boys, and the energy. He's putting these nice kicks in, hard hits, and Bully Ray will just smack him and slap him and give these big slaps. And AJ Styles like, come on, and then another big slap to his chest, come on, and you see the handprints and getting bloodier, and Bully Ray tries to hit him with a chain and he ducks, so that AJ Styles gets the chain and does this nice like Superman punch, which Bully Ray hides, falls and is under the ring because he got a blade, because he comes out and he's bleeding, and some great moves. I mean, there's a bit where AJ Styles, it's like there's the stage of the entrance stage. Bully Ray's here, AJ Styles here. AJ runs and did this holy motherfucking shit dive. Beautiful fucking dive. That the crowd was like, oh shit. Like the crowd was loving this match. The crowd was like, okay, if the energy was sucked up by a lot of these other, they were fired up, fueled with G Fuel during this match, and I could see why. Hell of a fucking dive. And there's this one bit where Bully Ray has AJ Styles laid, and he does what they call a Pele laid. Pele was overseas, they call football. Here in the US of A, we call it soccer. Where, imagine this is a soccer ball and it's in the air, and Pele would do like a kind of jump backwards and hit the ball like that. So imagine he's facing this way, and his leg goes, he does like a bat flip. I know Pele because he was in the Sylvester Stallone film Victory, also known as Escape to Victory. But yeah, Victory was Stallone, Michael Caine, and Pele. That's how I remember Pele. But nice hit that he gives to Bully Ray. And then there's this bit where it has Bully Ray like on a table, and AJ Styles realizes too far, so he jumps on this like pillar, climbs, and does the holy shit elbow drop connects with Bully Ray. Both go through the table. And I'm sitting going, oh shit. And then what happens? They both try to get up. Bully Ray somehow, even after he went through all this, tits AJ Styles in the butt, in the ass. So AJ Styles, goofy like, goes head first into some piece that's under like the stage, like through like a wall. So it's like, and Bully Ray gets up and he wins. And I'm like, did Bully Ray really need this win? Did he? So Matt Morgan can beat Scott Steiner, and Crimson can beat Samoa Joe, but AJ Styles, he can't beat Bully Ray. Like, come the and it was also like an anticlimactic ending that kind of made AJ Styles look kind of stupid, foolish. Maybe that's not fair because he was hurt, not by his fault, not by AJ Styles' fault. I mean, it's all predetermined, I know, but I'm just saying, just the image of just being kicked in the butt and going, it's just like, and that's what you don't remember is that, wow, he did these amazing things, this big dive, this big elbow drop, and he still lost the match. So, I mean, I know you say it doesn't matter who wins or loses because this is all fake anyway, but it just, as a movie, like I look at it as a movie, it's like he does all that and he still loses. Like, oh, come on. It's just not satisfying. It's not. And whether they fought again and AJ won, this was a perfect way. Like, you had the crowd eating it up, and this would have been a tremendous, triumphant win for AJ Styles. That really put him on another level of a map. And like, Bully Ray didn't need this. Like, Bully Ray is known, let's be honest, Devon did the tables. Now, he was a shit talker as well. And he wasn't bad in the ring as a solo wrestler. I'm just saying, there's a lot of people nowadays that think of him as Devon did the tables. AJ Styles, in my opinion, should have won this match. And that's what I mean. The ending was, like, shitty. Mr. Kennedy versus Steen. I like Steen. This is like a period where he's trying to do like the Heath Ledger Joker stuff. So he kind of paints his lips a little bit like Heath Ledger's Joker and being a little bit crazy. And Mr. Kennedy, I never gave a fuck about Mr. Kennedy. You know, the whole, and he gets the microphone. And maybe that could be maybe a fine gimmick, but just look-wise, personality-wise, I'm not going to say he's awful. I'm not. I'd be lying. It's just like, yeah. You know, yeah. And the match, Sting, maybe that's just how his normal matches are. It just, there's punches, go out to the crowd, having to tell people to move out of the way so you can do stuff. Steen didn't really have a lot of memorable moments during the match. I would say he's older, but fuck, he wrestled fucking 10 years later he was wrestling. And he seems too old here. So I just... And I liked Sting. I liked Sting. You say that's normal, typical. He's not, the most technical wrestler, to be fair. It just felt like he didn't do a whole lot. I don't remember a lot of big moves Steen was doing, except, punching and punching and punching. Mr. Kennedy did a few moves. And then they had to have some screwy finish where Eric Bischoff doesn't want Steen to win. Or, well, Steen was the champion, but Eric Bischoff didn't want Steen to be champion because apparently if Steen is champion, he's going to try to change things in the company. So Eric Bischoff's there as a distraction. Now, Mr. Kennedy does a low blow, which is disqualification. The referee is watching this. Like, Mr. Kennedy does this, hits Steen in the nuts, and the referee is like, he even reacts like, so I'm like, okay, was this a no disqualification match and I didn't know about it? Let me check that. I don't remember them saying it was a no DQ match. Just singles match for the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. That's all it says. That's all it says. There's nothing about no disqualification. So, he clearly, like, the referee sees it. He's right there looking at it. And he even reacts. But he doesn't disqualify him. Boom, boom, boom. 1, 2, 3. And Mr. Anderson is your new heavyweight champion. Like, really? They thought that of all the people you could have got, get Jay Lethal in the company. If he was in the company, why wasn't he in here? AJ Styles, like, Mr. Anderson? I sound like fucking Hugo Weaving. Mr. Anderson? Like, really? He's the champion? So the match was just kind of there. Kind of there. You say maybe like a typical Steen match that, probably you would have seen on a regular show on WCW. And stuff like that is why this fucking pay-per-view sucked, in my opinion. Except Kurt Angle versus Jeff Jarrett. Because apparently at this point, Jeff Jarrett had stolen Kurt Angle's wife and kids, and now wants Kurt Angle's gold medal. If Kurt Angle wins, he's the number one contender. And this was the only match I could say I pretty much enjoyed from beginning to end. If AJ Styles had won, that would easily be my favorite match of this pay-per-view. Easily. But the ending was screwy, so I would give it to... Kurt Angle is talented. He's very talented. I know back to the day, he had that song, "You suck, that people would sing. I'm like, I never thought he sucked. Here he has, that's WWF music, so here's a completely different theme. I always thought he was good. He was talented. He knew the moves. He had the look. He could be a funny heel. The stuff he did with Steve Austin around 2001 or so was funny. But he'd also be very intense. And when you see him in the ring and his eyes are like fucking Michael Myers' eyes. Like cold. Dead eyes. Just... I was like, that's the guy you don't want to mess with. So that was really good. Good look. And Jeff Jarrett did well. He was at times a little bit of the chicken shit heel. At the beginning, he kind of goes between the ropes. Hey, back up, back up. You know, like a little bit of chicken heel. And there was some false finishes. Kurt was able to have some snap suplexes. Do you on the top rope? Do you have like a nice drop kick, like missile drop kick? Does the 3 German suplexes to Jeff Jarrett. Decent back and forth with each other. There's I did false finishes. There's a bit where Jeff Jarrett, the one referee gets screwed with. He just knocked out, so Jeff Jarrett is able to hit Kurt Angle with a guitar. He needs another ref. Finally comes out 1-2. Gets out at 2.5. Jeff Jarrett's trying to do the ankle lock, and either Kurt Angle's getting to the ropes, or he's just straight out just fucking kicked in. Just turns around, just kicked in Jeff in the fucking face or something, or the shoulder. And then when Jeff Jarrett tries to do it again, Kurt's able to turn, roll, grab Jeff Jarrett's leg, and the ankle lock. Jeff Jarrett taps. Kurt Angle wins. So, yeah, that's probably, I mean, that's one of the only satisfying wins on this fucking pay-per-view. I mean, Beer Money, I probably would have picked them over British Invasion, so I'm fine that they won. But again, I don't have any skin in the game. Scott Steiner wasn't good in the ring, but I liked him promo-wise, so... But Matt Morgan won. Abyss, okay, it shows he is the monster in the company if he could beat 2 people at the same time. Samoa Joe losing sucked. AJ Styles losing sucked. Steen losing sucked. But Kurt Angle at least won. Again, his was the best match. The Angelina Love versus Mickie James match was the shittiest, with the worst fucking finisher in the whole pay-per-view. Most disappointing? Well, the ending to the AJ Styles versus Bully Ray was disappointing. Moment. The most disappointing moment. Most disappointing match probably Crimson versus Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe was really good, but the other guy, Crimson, I don't know what they saw in this guy to give him this 470-day undefeated streak. I just don't. Maybe there's other matches of Crimson I'm supposed to watch. I don't know. But that's just me. So overall, I thought this was kind of a shitty pay-per-view. That's just me. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. And thanks once again to RB. Hope you enjoyed. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.